confusing. AT&T Next makes it easy, no matter who's doing the talking.
You don't need to start at noon
Hey,
in order to get the spheres. I mean,
ladies and gentlemen,
What she means is
don't know where all of that is coming
for
from.
$0 down.
I think that may be uh, the commercials itself. I want to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republicans and then the socialists. Uh, Listen, ladies and gentlemen, many changes coming, but we hope that you will bear with us as we go through them. Growing pains, I like to call them. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. There's a lot on the agenda this particular evening. I can tell you that without a shadow of doubt. Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief, is in the hizzy, and that is always, always good news for me and for you as well. Mary is my bouncer. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed. Also want to thank Smokey for being in here tonight, as well as Dave Demo Buzz Milner. So glad to have you here. And the lovely Claudia Cheek. So beautiful. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Um, Wait a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to get some things situated here. Apparently, there we go. We're going to try that right there. All right. Okay, so that's working with live stream at this particular moment and see if that can get going. If not, so be it. I'm getting ready to leave live stream anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank also for the great intro show that it is. The Kraken himself uh, is with us on the air right before. And I hope that you all are enjoying the test shots that are going on and outside of the studio. I told you last night, listen, you all have gun ranges out there in suburban America, and in rural America, no one can hear you shooting cans off of your fence. It's a common practice. Here in D.C., they just step outside and they start gunning away. Uh, Practicing shooting into the dirt, I suppose. So bear with us as we go on this particular evening. We are so close to summer murders increasing. Gosh darn it, they got to go someplace and practice. You know what I'm saying? No one can shoot you and kill you in your kneecap like DC shooters. I'm just letting you know that. So, uh, my goodness. Yes, it is still hot. For those who have been following along with our show, last night was extremely HAWT. It's HAWT tonight as well. But that's par for the course when you're in Washington, D.C., home to the swampland. Uh, Dave Demo Buzz Miller announces the EDL will be at Parliament in London June 17th. Bye-bye. All right, congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. Finally being in the places where it takes great practice. That's right, Smokey, 2 nights in a row. Listen, the gun ranges close around here downtown. You gotta move into the outer parts. Uh, you practice your gunshots. We got coming up tonight, Eric Wallace will be on the air with us tonight. We will Skype him in. In addition to that, and he has a great giveaway we're going to try to give away as well tonight. So we want you all to be here in D.C. at the end of this week for a special event that he's hosting at the Heritage Foundation. In addition to that, we're going to talk about Muriel Bowser and the leftovers of the Obama administration and how they are actually creating cyclical poverty and homelessness. And we will then talk with Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report, and then we'll follow that all up with why the African American Credit Union Coalition won't say thank you to Donald Trump. As much as he's doing to help them keep their profitability, they ain't gonna say thank you. It's just not in them. They can't say thank you. Thank you to Donald Trump. I can't say. I can't. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we do at this hour of our show. For those who are watching us via live stream, you have the big flag here. For those who have the Ustream, you have the flags right here. In addition to that, we ask that you put your right hand over your heart. Okay. and pledge allegiance to the United States of America. I want to thank the great people at Red Nation Rising, Talk Radio America, HP Pundit, and SHR Media for carrying us live as well. Let's get going, people. Right hand over your heart. Let's pledge the great American thing. Get your kids to do it before they go to school.
Ready? Begin.
Woo! There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get a party started. Let us dial up none other than the great Eric Wallace, who has a wonderful event starting Thursday in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., home of the Southeast Gun Range. You don't need to pay membership. Just go right outside and fire away, people. Just pa-pow, pa-pow, pa-pow. What's that, Jim? You got a tree? Oh, wow. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the Exceptional Consider Show. We are talking tonight with Dr. Eric Wallace of the Freedom Journal. Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on the air live.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be on.
Awesome. You have a mighty event coming up on Thursday through Saturday of this week in Washington, D.C. I wanted to open up and give you the opportunity to talk about that amongst all the other things that we want to talk about tonight, and then close with a reminder of people coming to that event. What say you, sir? What is happening in Washington, D.C. this week?
It's a bunch of awesome activities going on. It first starts out on Thursday evening, the VIP reception at the Heritage Foundation up on the rooftop if the weather holds out, and it's nice, from 6 to 8 o'clock. Dr. Alveda King will be there, Star Parker. I think you might even show up, right?
Yeah, I think I might be in the neighborhood.
Don't let that scare you away, folks. Lottie Poindexter is going to be there. It'll be like a family reunion.
Exactly.
Of sorts of black conservatives, if you will. And there'll be some food there as well, so you get a chance to eat some stuff.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Then the next day, we've got a conference on it that'll go from 9 o'clock to about 4:30, 4:45, depends on how long-winded some of you guys are.
Well, let me give you a clue. If Reverend is in front of the name, I assure you it will be very long-winded. So.
But we'll have a timekeeper, so we make sure that people keep their remarks. But we're going to be talking about the black family, which actually, unfortunately, that's not a laughing matter.
Yeah.
And looking at what's happened with the black family since the Moynihan report, 52 years after the Moynihan report and 80 years after the New Deal. The New Deal was supposed to do something for folks, the poor people, and then the Greek society, and those programs have done really nothing for us. And then Moynihan noticed that that there was some stuff going on with the black family that he thought he was trying to sound the alarm bells and say you got 25% of black children being born in one-parent households.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
The problem is it's now over 70%. So, question we're trying to figure out is how did it happen and what can we do about it to change it? Because I live here in Chicago area, and you got people getting shot and killed every day. And the weekends is worse.
Exactly.
So, and a lot of it's gang violence, and
mm-hmm.
who are the prime targets for the gangs, which are young black men.
Exactly.
Who don't have a father figure at home.
Well, every night on my program, the audience is entertained by the gunshot practices that are going on outside of our homes over here in Southeast. So it's a regular occurrence for us.
Mm-hmm.
It might be something of a nuance for other people who are tuning in and listening. You are the editor-in-chief of the Freedom Journal out of Chicago,
yes,
Illinois. And I wanted to make sure that we got some registration information as well tonight for those people who are just hearing about the event, who may want to, check it out. on
Okay.
Thursday. How do they actually register for that particular event so I can pass it on in the website here?
Well, there's actually two different ways to get there. One of them is blackfamiliesmatter.org.
Mm-hmm.
Blackfamiliesmatter.org will take you directly to that page as it's supposed to. If you have any problem with that, then just go to freedomsjournalinstitute.org. That's the general website, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's a spot on there where you can click, and it'll take you to that particular page. If you can't find
Exactly.
it, there's also stuff up. There's a menu up on top, and there's one on there. I think it says events.
Exactly. And we got that right there. We're going to put that into the chat roll for everybody tonight to give you the opportunity to sign up. And let me just ask for the audience, is there a way in which they can sneak in free?
Yes, there is. No, but there's a way you can pay for everybody.
Exactly.
We'll just put on your credit card.
That's right. I'll be at the front door.
There is a freebie code. It's for the initials for Black Families Matter, BFM 2017.
Perfect.
BFM 2017.
Excellent.
And you can get in for free.
Excellent. We will put this in.
And if getting in for free makes you feel bad, there will be a point where we're going to ask people to donate, and you can write a check and get some money through it.
Trust me, people, you will not leave without giving a little something. But nevertheless, we do want you to come out for this big event. We have to go to a quick break. We're talking with none other than the great Dr. Eric Wallace. He is the editor-in-chief of the Freedom Journal out of Chicago, Illinois. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the state of the Black family after the Moynihan report and the New Deal, and how we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray as a people, as a nation, as a society, and how we can get back on track. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. Just going to ask my guests to go to mute. We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds right after these messages.
Meet Jason. He was really excited to start growing his business with social media until he realized how complex and time-consuming social media can be. It's difficult to manage multiple social networks and accounts. It's hard to monitor what's happening on social media, follow discussions, and engage with new followers. It's time-consuming to publish updates throughout the day, track and analyze how effective posts are, respond to fans and followers in a timely manner, and gain new customers. The list seems to go on and on. Jason quickly becomes discouraged. How could he ever do all of this and still run a business? He was ready to give up on social media until he found eClincher, the easiest way to manage social media. Jason was amazed how straightforward and simple it is to use eClincher. With eClincher, Jason is now able to leverage the power of social media without having to dedicate several hours a day. He can easily organize all his social media accounts in one place, efficiently plan and schedule his posts ahead of time, engage with his followers, understand the effectiveness of his efforts with powerful analytics, find new customers, and much more. In order to tell your business's story, simplify the process of managing your social media, and analyze results, sign up with eClincher today.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance. Like the Johnsons, who save $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to lendingtree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
Oh, you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of the Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have a brand new show on at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are bound to make you think. We are bound to make you see things differently. We are bound to push you into action for not only your community, but your country. That's the Willie Lawson Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We have with us the editor-in-chief of the Freedom Journal, as well as the head of the Freedom Journal Institute for the Study of Faith and Public Policy, none other than a very good friend of ours, Dr. Eric Wallace, out of Chicago, Illinois. And I had the great pleasure of meeting him face-to-face after a number of years of speaking via dialogue over Facebook and other places. And in an event in Chicago that he held was a wonderful event where we talked about family. And Dr. Wallace, you have made your vision proclaiming the good news to the poor. Part of that was reaching out and encouraging people to restore the family. Are you disappointed with how things have gone in urban America since our first meeting in Chicago?
Yeah, it's hard not to be. But my biggest disappointment, I must say, has been the reaction of the Black church, man.
Wow.
I think if anyone's going to lead us out of the wilderness, it's going to be, it should be those, in the pulpit and in the pews who say that they're Christian. But
yeah, but
how do I say this?
but they're happy. Yeah, wait a minute, because they're happy in the plantation fields of urban America. I mean, all you got to do is get a government job, get your kid into a public school. You ain't got nothing else to do. I mean, life is easy, right?
yeah. I don't see that as part of the Great Commission. But anyway, Jesus said, "Go out and pay." See, this is the deal, and I hear so many, especially Black politicians and even pastors talk about this. They seem to think that Jesus said, pay more taxes so the government can take care of the poor.
Yeah.
I don't see that in Scripture anywhere.
No.
So it's the church and the people of God who are supposed to, and civil society is supposed to take care of the poor. It's not the federal government. Jesus didn't say pay more taxes to you guys so that Herod could go out and help take care of the poor. Caesar can go take care of the poor. No, that's our job. So I think we've been abdicating our responsibility and thinking that somehow the government's going to take care of the poor, and then we scratch our heads and wonder why certain people aren't being transformed. There's no transformation going on because we're not doing our work.
But is that the goal of our society today, transformation? Because we've been transformed by the former president, but he made certain that the waves didn't go above the rocks, and he controlled the air temperature and everything else. I mean, after Messiah, why do we need anything else? I'm being facetious, but in our cities, there is a great deal of faith in politicians and not in pulpits.
Yeah, you're right. And we've made the government our god, and we worship the federal government. And, so somebody's got to come along. We need some modern day prophets like yourself come along and tell folks, wake up. Government's not your daddy. Government is not your Messiah. Jesus is the one who died for you. It's neither Trump or Obama. Okay, so it's neither the R or the D.
Exactly. Now you focus on the RISE principles, RISE, and I want you to tell those who are new to you and those who are acclimated to you but have forgotten those principles, exactly when you're talking about RISE, getting up from where you are, exactly what principles are you focused on?
Well, first of all, RISE principle is an acronym for responsible government, individual liberty and fidelity, strong family values, and economic empowerment. And within those are a number of different rubrics that like responsible government.
Yeah.
A lot of times conservatives want to talk about limited government, but for some of us in the Black community, you say limited government, and all of a sudden they turn off the lights, they close the doors, and they pull down the shutters. and you can't have a conversation. But if you say responsible government, that could mean a lot of different things. So, but when we're talking about it, we want to talk about what it means for the government. What's the government supposed to do? Which means it's supposed to live within the laws of the Constitution, which limit the federal government and to a certain extent gives the power back to the people and to the states. So that's one of many. Of course, we got the individual liberty and fidelity. And you can't have individual liberty that does what it's supposed to do if people don't have a sense of commitment to a set of standards and ethical ethics and morals.
Mm-hmm.
So that you've got to have that. And then when we talk about strong family values, actually, there's a lot of stuff comes under strong family values because we believe that it's in the family that you get your first education. It's in the family where you start learning about money. It's in the family you start learning how to socialize, and you make these connections with various generations, maybe your grandparents and maybe if you're lucky, your great grandparents and your brothers and sisters and cousins and stuff like that. Learning how to socialize and talk to folks and know the hierarchy in the family.
Exactly.
And things like that. And economic empowerment means we understand how to use money and how to one of the things I argue, and I think the Acton Institute has actually made this popular, talking about how do we, instead of talking about how to fight poverty, the question should be how do we create wealth. And
Yes.
because we're asking the wrong questions. We're not going to destroy poverty. What we're going to do is teach people how to create wealth. Use the resources that they have,
Exactly.
to make more money, and then to pass it on to their children and their children's children.
Yeah, that's the power of Deuteronomy 8:18. It is a recognition that God has made a covenant with us, Old and New Testament, and part of that covenant is that we prosper in Him, and that we have a requirement to work as a part of creating that wealth in our society. But that has been lost on many generations. You mentioned the Moynihan report. You mentioned the New Deal, where Roosevelt, however way you wish to say his name, created the kitchen cabinet, bringing many disappointed Republicans into the Democrat fold with the promise that if they gave up the concept of independence, that they would receive the security of government. How does that work for the urban populations?
It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's kept people in poverty, and actually, back in the day, people would rise out of poverty. They get married, they go to school, get married, and then have children, and the parents would work to better themselves. Well, we don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned to live off the government, and hopefully, I don't know anybody who's lived off the government and never become rich. So if you want to stay poor, get on the government dole, and you can barely survive off of that. Well,
actually, you can become wealthy off the government, but you have to be elected to the House and the Senate to do that.
Become president of the United States.
Exactly. Isn't that amazing how off a $450,000 annual salary he was able to retire from the presidency after 8 years, a multi-millionaire? It's amazing how that happens. But I digress. Going back to the Black family now. When you hold this event at the Heritage Foundation, which is at 214 Massachusetts Avenue Northeast in Washington, D.C., it will be on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. When you're holding this particular event, there will be those who will say, wait a minute. So you see, you are just a misogynistic, sexist, anti-feminist, noxious individual who's always putting down the Black woman. It's the Black woman holding the church together. It's the Black woman holding the family together. It's the Black woman holding the government together. It is men like you that keep us down. What say you, sir, and retort to that?
I was going to say in jest, yeah, you're probably right. Take a sound bit and you'll find it all over the internet.
Now you know that sound bite's gonna go all over the place. Yeah. Well, yeah, I am.
I can't help it. I always want to be a comedian, so. But I was told not to quit my day job.
Don't do that.
Look, I'm just a man trying to do what the Bible says to do. Okay.
Okay.
And in some regards, there's an order in which God says man is the head of the household. doesn't tell men, to love their wives, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it tells us a couple of times to do that, and only tells the woman to obey her husbands once. So
Exactly.
it tells you a little bit of something. Then it gives instructions about the family and children obey your parents, but it also tells the father not to frustrate his kids. So
Mhm.
There's a lot of good wisdom if we just do what God tells us to do, and stop listening to folks outside, the talking heads, and other folks outside who don't want to follow God in the first place, and they don't want you to follow the Lord either. So they're going to fill your heads with all kinds of stuff that hey, it's wrong to do this, it's wrong to do that. And I'm not trying to blame black women. Look, I was a single parent for a while myself. I've been through a divorce.
Yeah.
My 2 children are from another marriage.
Mhm.
And so when we talk about single parenting, we want to talk about what is the best situation was to bring up kids. The best situation to bring up kids is to have a 2-parent household and have the biological parents bring up their own kids, okay, and have a relationship with the Lord. All right,
Yeah.
let me throw that in, because there are some parents out there that don't know the Lord and treat their kids like dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
But if you can't have that, then the next best thing is that if you got a stepmother or stepfather, you still having 2 parents in the home. If you can't do that, you be a loving single parent and do the best that you can.
Yeah.
But understand, we shouldn't be glorifying that. And in our society, sometimes we kind of glorify that whole thing, about being a single parent.
Yeah. Well, this weekend is Father's Day weekend, and
Right.
and urban churches. I don't know if they do them in suburban and rural churches around America, but I know in urban churches, when they ask fathers to stand up, the women stand up, and they're given roses for being the fathers of the household. And I know where the gender confusion is beginning to happen.
Right.
But is that our fault, or is it their fault, or is it the preacher's fault? Whose fault is it that we have transferred the authority to women in terms of raising the household?
I think, as I said before, I think the church has a lot to answer for, by allowing a lot of secular humanism to come into the church.
Mm-hmm.
That we gravitated toward that, and allowed that mess to come into our church instead of standing firm and say, this is what the Word of God says. And it's not about women doing everything, trying to be men, or about men trying to be women.
Yeah.
It's about being who God created us to be, and standing in that, and rejoicing in that position, and taking it on as God gives us the ability to do so. Now, I was never a perfect husband or a perfect father.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look back at, my kids are now 30. Oldest one's about to turn 31.
Congrats.
The youngest one just turned 29. So I'm an old man. So
Yeah.
but I look back at some of the things that, and I wish I'd done some stuff different.
Yeah.
But you can't go back, because they're already grown men and off on their own.
Exactly.
So
you
do the best that you can with the information that you have at the time, and if you make mistakes, you apologize and ask forgiveness, and try to move on and say, next time I'll do better. So
exactly. There are those who are listening to you tonight, and they're saying to themselves, well, I don't know. I want to be a part of this, but I don't want people to know that I'm down with this conservative movement. I just want to sneak in. And I want to be is it okay for people from different viewpoints to come in and sit down at you all's feet and learn what you learn? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we always have open arms. I mean, I'm willing to make some converts to the
There you go.
the conservative position. I mean, we're willing to make some converts. You come in, you don't know Christ, and you want to give your life to the Lord, we'll pray with you.
Exactly.
I'm an ordained minister, so we can do that.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to. You mentioned Alveda King will be there Thursday night. Who are some of the others that will be in attendance for this very, very special event in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I already mentioned one of the most important people, which was you. And then
you blowed our heads up, man.
and then lower level people like Alveda and Sarah Parker and Bishop Harry Jackson, and I'm trying to remember some of the others without having to look on my website.
I know you got a tremendous number of great individuals who will be there this week, and
we got cut up. Raynard Jackson will be there.
Yep. There you go.
And you know how funny Renard is, so it was to come just to hear Renard crack you up. So,
Exactly.
So Thursday's more about just coming out and hanging out and fellowshipping and have something to eat. There will be a couple of people saying some stuff, like I'll probably get up and talk about Freedom Journal Institute and what we do. Probably repeat what I said about the RISE principles and stuff like that. But it's business casual. You know, come in, get something to eat. A couple hours we spend together, and then the work is the next day. And like I said, from 9 o'clock to 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
May go to 4:45, and then Saturday, which I didn't mention, Saturday is the March for Marriage.
All right.
Free. So I'm not sure I actually have the map on my website. I need to put that map up there, so people go to my website, they know where we're going to meet. It's supposed to start at like 11 o'clock, but I don't have the map up there. So as soon as I hang out with you, I'm going to put.
Awesome.
I just thought about that. I need to put the map up so people come there, they know where to find us. So we're gonna have a couple people speak at that, and then we're gonna march to the Supreme Court, have a prayer there, and then break. So it'll probably go from 11 to 2.
Awesome. You know, the unfortunate thing in our community, and you may have heard shots fired in our neighborhood. You know, because you got to practice for murder season. We're in the middle of murder season. In urban America, I jest, but you and I both know you live in Chicago, which took away the murder capital of the world title from Detroit, and Detroit took it away from us. You know, it's that whole identity that the urban areas are violent, they are godless at times, they are afflicted with strife, with envy, and with hate. And the thing that's missing most are the evangelists, the teachers, the prophets, the apostles, the pastors, men of God who are willing to stop doing your missionary work in Africa. You need to come back to the inner cities and change the inner city. When I say that, is that effectual to you, or am I overstepping a bound of thought?
No, I think there's a lot of truth there. I'm not saying we should totally forego the foreign mission field, but there's a mission field right here. And the question is, if all you have are people going across crossing borders or going across the ocean to another country, what are we doing here in our own cities, in our own neighborhoods? Because we're supposed to start there and work our way out. And the problem is, you're right, that people get into church and they're happy to sing the songs and they say amen and thank you, Jesus. And that's about the end of it when they leave. That's all there is to it. And then we come back to church, either Wednesday night for Bible study or we wait all week to come back on Sunday and do it all over again.
Exactly.
And there's no transformation, there's no change. We're not affecting our neighborhoods. We're not doing anything. And I think if Jesus were to come back today, he'd look at us and say, "What are you guys doing?
What are you doing? You have really screwed this up." Ladies,
this is not what I told you to do.
Ladies,
did you not read the instructions?
You didn't leave me no manual.
It's called my word.
It's called my word. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, I am so looking forward to Thursday evening to fellowship with Dr. Eric Wallace and so many others who have been fighting the good fight. But I want you all to know that there are names that are not spoken, and you all are fighting that battle where you are, and we need you there on that battlefield. If you might come to Washington this weekend, Thursday, June the 15th through Saturday, June the 17th, marching for marriage, being restored in faith and in fellowship with the leaders of such movements as Dr. Alveda King and Bishop Harry Jackson, and for the frivolity that comes with just sitting around with Ken McClinton, Lonnie Poindexter, Raynard Jackson, and many others. I encourage you to make your plans this week to do so. Come. But once you come, I'm expecting you to go back and become a renaissance to those in urban America. Dr. Wallace, we are praying for your success this week. We are encouraging people to attend, and we love you and thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Dr. Eric Wallace, what a great joy to have had him on our program tonight. Black Families Matter, the State of the Black Family, by Freedom's Journal Institute for the Study of Faith and Public Policy. That is Thursday, June the 15th through Saturday, June 17th. It's the Heritage Foundation, 214 Massachusetts Avenue Northeast. Listen, you don't have to be a conservative, you don't have to be a Christian, but you do have to be in the house. We'll see you in just a few for more talk on conservatism in urban America.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. Easy is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
I'm Ken McClinton, chairman of the Exceptional Conservative Network. Never has the cry for economic liberty been more resounding in urban America than on Election Day 2016. It's the economy. All real change begins with the American entrepreneur. Socialism did not work. Progressivism stole the wealth of individuals and families. You voted for something different, real change. But what does real change look and sound like? It looks like Las Vegas, and it sounds like Freedom Fest 10. Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds, is a popular liberty-minded conference at the beautiful Parish Resort in Las Vegas from July 19th to the 22nd. Hear the voices of the urban freedom movement, Deneen Borelli, Larry Elder, Gina Lofton, Helen Rowley, Juan Pablo Andrande, and Zayad Abdullah. Share ideas with powerful liberty movement figures like Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Anthony Scaramucci, Jennifer Grossman, Naomi Brockwell, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Peter Schiff, and our keynote speaker this year, William Shatner. Your money, your liberty, your freedom, your city. Come for the real and return with the change. Register now at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all caps code TECN. We'll see you there. Christianity, conservatism, the Constitution, capitalism. Our amazing hosts at the Exceptional Conservative Network broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. Join us in chat by clicking on the TECS tab, Bible Study tab, or TECN tab. TECN, spreading the good news to the ends of the earth. We'll be back after these messages.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon, and you're Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
The food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Power brokers use corrupt politicians, deceptive Islam, and lies from establishment media to turn the once shining city on a hill into the city of the blind. What do the elites fear? One man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me at SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube for a different kind of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because truth is not always pleasant.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back.
Maytag has fingerprint-resistant stainless steel.
Ah, gee, you gotta love
So when people get handsy, things don't get dirty.
Thank you very
now
much.
with fingerprint-resistant stainless steel. Maytag, what's inside matters.
Really, thank you very much. Ken, we love you, man.
Oh, Vivan. Smartphone payment plans used to be confusing.
Don't know what
AT&T
this
Next makes it
crap
easy
is.
no matter who's doing the talking. Smartphone Mexo. What he means is get that new smartphone for $0 down.
Apparently, I have to subject myself to the commercials. I really do. It's a pain that I'm going to have to deal with and sacrifice, and unfortunately, I must bear it with you, and you must bear it with me, and I do apologize. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. Wonderful conversation with Dr. Eric Wallace. I want y'all to come and get some free food. If you're in D.C., and I want y'all to know Celeste is somewhere around in the D.C., Baltimore, Richmond area. So it would be great to see. She is as gorgeous as a model. She really is. Come see Alveda King and Bishop Harry Jackson and Raynard Jackson and all the rest of them. Claudia. Ken, we love you, man, and we all pray for your success. Claudia, love you. Thanks for playing my newest promo, Ken. Woo. There you go. You're welcome, Dave. Thank you all so much. I know it's a commercial monster. I have no control over that, unfortunately, but that will change in a few weeks, hopefully, when we go to internet TV. You don't have to sign up right now for internet TV. Don't do that just yet. We are working on a plan of action for registration purposes, and we're going to announce it and everything else and get everyone rocking and rolling. We're hoping to raise enough money to get out to Freedom Fest this year. So I hope to have most of these particular matters resolved in good stead. Ladies and gentlemen, amongst all the things that are going on, I need to talk with you all tonight. I'm going to take this segment and then I'm going to go into the next segment after the break. And I want to talk with you about some economic things that you will not hear thank you for. And some that you will hear thank you for, but have been really, really unfortunate, have not helped in the least bit the individual. One of those happens to be the concept that if you keep people poor, they will appreciate it. And I want you all to know something. That is not the case at all. And in fact, I want to thank Ken Blackwell, who wrote an article today, put it out for everyone to read. He's the former mayor of Cincinnati. He served as undersecretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. He was also senior domestic policy advisor to President Trump's transition team. And, well, and in this particular writing, he made it abundantly clear that there are those who have been with forked tongue telling us that we have a recovery and yet attempting to steal from the Treasury in the hopes of manifesting political gain without actually having success for the individual. And I want to tell you, I thank him for writing this article, and I'm going to put it out for you all for your reading pleasure. It's called On Affordable Housing, the D.C. government is hurting the people it's supposed to help. The D.C. government is hurting the people it's supposed to help. Now, of course, we all know that Ken Blackwell is a conservative, Christian conservative, Family Research Council kind of guy. Mary says, Ken Blackwell's wife was my daughter's school principal. There you go. See? And they are very, very faithful people. They really are. Had the great pleasure of meeting them in Chicago and talking with them for a bit. But, ladies and gentlemen, he who has experience running a city and being a part of housing and urban development and federal governance made this declaration to Muriel Bowser today. And I want you all to know that I share the same opinion. He writes, like other large cities, elected officials in the Washington keep creating and heavily funding new programs intended to address Washington's affordable housing and homeless crisis. And now remember, Dr. Wallace was talking about the New Deal. And in fact, during the Roosevelt administration, Nixon served on the price controls administration or department during that time period, which is where we get a president who doesn't mind shifting to the gold standard. But the whole concept is, this is what non-capitalists believe. They believe that if they can control the prices of things, thus suppress prices, rich people will make less profit, and whatever profit they do make, we can take from them and redistribute it to the poor, and thus we will balance out society and we will all be even. It will all be fair. That's what socialists believe. Muriel Bowser is a socialist. The city council in Washington, D.C. Is as close to Vladimir Putin's parliament as the Funkadelics was to George. Okay, they are very, very close. Hey, baby, George Clinton. Hey, baby, Bubba. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have individuals who have a mindset that their objective is not to make you create wealth, but to make you poor and to keep you poor, make you reticently without hope of ever succeeding in and of your own accord. And so what they want to do is create something called affordable housing. And affordable housing is built on the premise that if you bought it at this particular price, it won't appreciate in value too greatly, because there will be others behind you in a certain category, and all you need to do is trade off that property to the other party. There won't be much profit, but you've done societal good. And then there are those who are sitting around saying, let us fight homelessness. And homelessness is created in some great havocs of society, which are normally garnered or protected by insurances. You know, earthquakes, volcanoes, that kind of thing. I don't know if is there volcano insurance? I think there is. But certainly tornadoes and things of that particular nature. But there are other things that cause homelessness too. Unemployment contributes to homelessness. But here's another problem with the socialist mentality. You see, it's okay to be homeless and unemployed because we will redistribute wealth to protect you and keep you in your plight for as long as it takes. And I want you to understand that is what repaid rehousing does, not just in Washington, D.C., but around the country. And a lot of people don't understand that you're really not helping the homeless with repaid rehousing. What you're doing is you're maintaining poverty. You're not, and I'm not talking about providing temporary assistance, because I believe that that's what the church and the body of believers are supposed to do. But when government intervenes and attempts to do good, they often are in harm's way. And so he goes on to write, one glaring failure is a program supported by Mayor Muriel Bowser. Rapid rehousing provides housing vouchers for families with children for 4 months, up to a year. Now, if you want to know the origins of that, we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. He goes on to say, unfortunately, these families are often coping with unemployment and other health problems that prevent them from earning enough income to cover rent once vouchers run out. Many suffer from mental illness, which leads to the destruction of property and other serious issues for landlords. Now, immediately people will say, Ken Blackwell is on the mean Scrooge McDuck landlord economy. He's protecting the landlords. No, what he's saying to you is there is common sense in society, and those who wish to obstruct it with false claims towards socialism for the good of the population do not do good for the welfare of the nation. When we come back, I want to talk with you about why rapid rehousing is a danger, and I'm going to give it to you in the words of some liberal Democrats. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We'll be right back.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story too.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for being with us tonight. You're listening to us on SHR Media. I want to thank the great people at Red Nation Rising and Talk Radio America for keeping us on the air.
Xanthan is a small alien. He has hooks on his tentacles. He has 3 eyes. He lives on Xanthan.
Hi.
He loves to conquer planets. And his frog doesn't have ears.
Actually, xanthan gum is an additive found in some cream cheese, but it's not in Arla. No artificial additives, no weird stuff. Arla, live unprocessed.
Thank you all so much. We'll be back.
Smartphone payment plans used to be confusing. AT&T Next makes it easy, no matter who's doing the talking.
You don't need to start with like moon dust in order to get the spheres. I mean, the phone.
What she means is get that new smartphone for $0 down.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. More of the best in urban conservative talk right after all of these messages. Tentacles. I am telling you, Dave, and they tell me, Dave, that they can't go to TECN TV because Facebook and the rest of them don't spy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the fool. We'll be right back right after these messages, ladies and gentlemen.
There are only two things you should be doing weeknights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and one of them is legal in 58 states. So do the other one. Listen live to the Exceptional Conservative Show with Ken McClinton, Monday through Wednesday at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time on SHR Media and at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. The Exceptional Conservative Show, bringing the sexy back to late night conservative talk.
The greatest advertisers in all of the world are on the Exceptional Conservative Show and the Exceptional Conservative Network. Buy their products and share their good news. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com right now. We'll be back after these messages.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hello, this is Leslie Ann Stillful with The Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network, where we'll be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's The Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture to relationships to whatever else is on your mind, we have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started. Hi, my name is Christopher Arnold. I'm the executive chef of Infused Restaurant, and today I'm going to walk you through some of the meals that we prepare here. So we're making a pizza. We use fresh Italian sausage that we cook here and slice it up. Our pizza dough is in-house made. Our pizza sauce is in-house made. So everything is fresh and ingredients. This is our Thai curry chicken. The sauce is made with coconut milk and a Thai red curry. It is juicy chicken thighs as well as some mixed vegetables, served with jasmine rice and pita bread. So now we're going to prepare our famous blackened tilapia and grits, our fish and grits on the menu. Fish and grits, and our meal will be complete. Let me tell you about our infused heat burger. When we kick the spice up just a little bit with our infused sauce, we start off with 80-20 USDA ground chuck ham patty burgers, like half a pound of burgers, and we're going to grill it to perfection. After I flip the burgers, we add the sauce and let it cook on into the meat just a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of pepper jack cheese to this burger, spice it up a bit. Order up!
6339 Allentown Road, Temple Hills, Maryland, ladies and gentlemen. That's the place to be. That's the place to be, I assure you. You're back with the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. Janis Hall will be joining us in short order. Want to continue talking with you tonight regarding an article written by none other than Ken Blackwell, which speaks to the horrors of a program that was created under the Obama administration. Yes, There he goes again. The conservative Christian Ken McClinton. There he is, blaming Obama. I'm just telling you where it all started from. You see, this is what Ken Blackwell writes. The rapid rehousing vouchers are intended to cover rent for the short term. Once exhausted, if rent is not paid, then eviction is only possible after months of legal wrangling and thousands of dollars in attorney fees footed by the landlords and DC taxpayers. So you're getting hit at the Fed and the state on this deal. You're twice. Okay, you're getting hit. And it's not helping because these individuals are struggling, basically. I digress back to what he said. Sadly, the evicted tenant then re-enters rapid rehousing, homeless again, to start the process all over. The program is so poorly developed, the Washington Legal Clinic for the Homeless recently released a report entitled Set Up to Fail, Rapid Rehousing in the District of Columbia. Now, I want to read, now I want y'all to know, I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that the Washington Legal Clinic, and there are good people at the Washington Legal Clinic, but I assure you, they are not, they may listen on the download to the Exceptional Conservative Show because over 13% of our listeners are from Washington, D.C. They may be listening on the download, but trust me, they do not vote for Donald Trump. They don't vote for Ted Cruz. They're not conservatives. The Washington Legal Clinic is as liberal as Bernie Sanders' People's Party is. Okay, that's really where they're coming from. But even they say that this is a failed system. This is what they write. The report written by legal clinic attorney Max Tipping, Set Up to Fail, Rapid Rehousing in the District of Columbia. The report analyzes the experiences of over 100 families in the program, as well as data provided by the Department of Human Services and national sources, and concludes. Now this is not me. This is I'm not making this up. This is what it concludes, and you can share this while you're sitting around at the Dunkin' Donuts with your very liberal friends. Which I know, gentrification. There you go. There you go. I got a cure for gentrification. Concludes that homeless families in rapid rehousing struggle with terrible housing conditions, are severely rent burdened, and often are sued in eviction court. Now, I want y'all to know something. When you get sued in court for eviction, that shows up on your credit report. If you're looking for a job and they pull your credit report, it doesn't bode well for employment. Just saying. Just saying. Are severely rent burdened, often sued in eviction court while they are in the program. Then, homeless families are routinely terminated from assistance for reaching an arbitrary time limit, despite the fact that the average income of participants is far less than the average rent. It is mathematically impossible for these families to sustain housing post-termination. Does that bother Muriel Bowser? No. Let me explain why it doesn't bother Muriel Bowser. Muriel Bowser is in office for 4 years. She has made promises about affordable housing. She got burnt trying to use her good buddies who had donated to her campaign to develop quote-unquote affordable housing while giving kickbacks. Now, let me explain to you something. Under the gun, she's got to show that she's been doing something for affordable housing beyond the fact of escorting hundreds of millions of dollars to her Tony donors. So this is a good way of striking numbers. I want you to understand, politicians understand statistics. They know that mathematic impossibilities exist in trying to fight poverty. Fighting poverty is like fighting the air. You did something, but nothing happened. The air is still there. Poverty is the same way. The only thing that affects poverty, in fact, there are two things that affect poverty. It is not education. I know that you have Republicans running around talking about we just need to improve education. Trust me, it's not education first. The first thing that needs to take place is a godly family. That's number one. Because a godly family would stretch out and take care of the needs of the family. The second thing is employment. Making certain that people are employed. Now, many people say, well, if you don't go to college, you can't get employed. Well, that's not true. Many of the trades that exist today, plumbing, electrical, telecommunications, utilities, many of those, you end up being paid $100,000 a year, sometimes 3 times as much as a person who went to school to get a degree to hang up on the wall and with $150,000 worth of debt. So these politicians understand that they're playing a math game with you. If I can show you mathematically that I have reduced homelessness, taking people off the streets and put them in homes, I didn't tell you for how long. I just told you that I took them off the street and put them in a home. You will say, oh, dandy. Oh, golly gee, what a wonderful politician. That's why we believe in what they believe. But the bottom line is that once that number passes, you're dealing with human life. These individuals have not changed their conditions. They've only changed their circumstances. Circumstances are temporal. Conditions can be permanent. So the bottom line is Ken Blackwell is saying rapid rehousing doesn't work. Who else is saying that? Well, guess what? Liberals, like at the Washington legal clinic, are saying the very same thing. And in fact, I'm going to give you some testimony from Max Tipping. This is what Max Tipping said. As you know, rapid rehousing is currently the district's answer to the family homelessness crisis. Except for Washington, no state is more reliant on the rapid rehousing model than the district. There are currently over 1,300 families in DC's rapid rehousing program, representing approximately 4,000 people, including 2,300 children. Now, I want you to quote these numbers to all of those Ward 7, Ward 8 people that talk about Donald Trump needs to be impeached because he's emulating money and that's unconstitutional. I want you to explain to them that their socialist system is in making people more impoverished every single day. $13.5 billion DC budget, and you're impoverishing people who keep voting for you. I don't understand the disconnect in terms of the vote. Tipping goes on to say these things here. Rapid rehousing has become a band-aid approach to the crisis of family homelessness, one that hides the problem but does not actually solve it. On May 1, the legal clinic released a report on DC's rapid rehousing program entitled Set Up to Fail. The report, now this is, you know it's bad when liberals create a report that says set up to fail, okay? The report analyzes the experiences of over 100 families in the program, yada, yada, yada. And this is what it says. Families' assistance is routinely terminated based on an arbitrary time limit. They go back and they repeat that. Commercial.
Nice. Maytag appreciates a compliment, but this Maytag washer isn't just eye candy.
Wow.
Inside, it's got the capacity and power to handle even the mightiest loads.
I love this.
Yeah, she's a beaut.
It's a he.
How do you know?
Don't worry about it.
Maytag, what's inside matters.
They go on to say, it is time for DC policymakers to decide whether to continue investing in a broken program or start moving forward towards a homeless service system that actually ends family homelessness. This is a quote. It has not been the practice to exit families from rapid rehousing who otherwise would end up back in the homelessness system, which would be more costly. Ladies and gentlemen, they're running a game on you. They absolutely are. And they're running a game on you as a taxpayer. And I think more dangerous is that they're running a game on individuals who have put their faith and confidence in G-O-V, Someone in the gov will fill out an application for me, make certain I get my stuff paid by voucher, and I'll be in this home and we will be all right as a family. And the truth of the matter is you are being hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. It is only for a temporal time. Now, people will sit back and say, well, at least they're going to take care of them for a time period. But no, it's a setup to fail. These people's time limits, 4 months, 4 months in a house. That's the summer. At the end of summer, when your kid wants to be in school, now they're looking for a new school to go to because I got to find another place to live. Do you know how much the poverty level is in Washington, D.C.? In Washington, D.C., you are poor if you make less than $105,000 annually. Let me repeat that number to you again. You are poor in Washington, D.C. if you make less than $105,000 annually. That's according to the Department of Housing. So imagine, and this is why this is very dangerous, the socialists and the Marxists who tell you that you don't need God or you don't need morality. All you need is gov. You don't need a man, you just need gov. Because this is what happens. When Shaquita has been convinced that she doesn't need to be married, but she can produce 4 children, which will require each over their lifetime at least $150,000 worth of care, which is $600,000 in total over at least 20 to 30 years. Okay, you're looking at a cost already there somewhere in the area of about $30,000 just for the kids, not including another $30,000 for rent in Washington, D.C., because it's about $2,400 a month on average for a house that size to take care of that many kids. And then you're looking at food, clothing, and in addition to that, other expenses, maybe a car. So already you're trying to convince black women, and listen, Mary, Claudia, I want y'all to go back. You can repeat my words here. You have tried to convince black women that it is far better to be impoverished in their singlehood, creating babies that require social responsibility and funding so that they might be independent in thought and action, while staying away from a man who might be able to bring in household income and leadership and discipline to that particular. You have been convinced. And so many of those individuals, that 2,300 children that we're talking about, 2 kids for every adult that's in the rapid rehousing program, they suffer. They suffer because you have been convinced of an ideology that has separated you from the responsibility of being a family, a true family. If you were to bring in that engineer, electrical engineer who has $70,000 and you're making $50,000 as an administrative assistant, you now make $120,000 a year. Guess what? You are now above the poverty level in Washington, D.C. You can afford to get a house. You can afford to get a car. You can afford all the other things. You don't have that pressure put upon you, and you're not dependent on Gov to give you something that God has ordained for you to have. And so this is what I'm telling you right now. The mayor's budget is for $13.6 million gap. Well, the mayor's budget leaves a $13.6 million gap in funding needed to get the district on track to end chronic homelessness, and a $21.6 million gap in funding needed to get back on track to ending family homelessness. Now, I want you to understand something before we go to break and come back with Janis Hall. Under the HUD program, American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, direct financial assistance such as rental assistance and utility payments annually account for $820 million a year. $820 million a year. Has that program gone away? Apparently not. And every year it grows. It grows. If you spend all of that money, all of this time, and you have not solved homelessness, you're not going to solve it no matter how much money you spend. You want to solve homelessness, you want to solve family issues, put God first, make sure that you have a family, learn a trade, and whatever you do, apply yourself to keeping the family together. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with more of the best right after these messages. These are mine.
Thank you for the team call, and I really enjoy ICRN, your station, the station I listen to all day.
Okay, thanks, Dominique.
Featuring right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show. And thank you for putting up with all of the encumbrances that we have prevailed upon us as we prepare to make that final move to everything else that we have to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce and some present to others the beautiful, the vivacious, the brilliant young lady, better known as Janis Hall, J Hall World Report. We welcome you to our program.
Hi, happy to be here.
I am so glad that you are here. Listen, Janis, I know that you're from California, and you probably just despise the fact that we have entered into summertime here in Washington, D.C. Am I correct about that?
You are. I'm not very happy about this.
Oh, the sweltering heat. Welcome to the swamp. What would be the absolutely best climate for you, young lady?
Oh. Well, okay. I do like having some nice 70s weather, 60s. That's pretty wonderful. But I also really like having in the upper 20s with snow.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Northern California. There you go.
Yeah. Cold, but not too cold.
It's somewhere right in the middle. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed the past 2 days, 95 plus temperatures. And as I am melting away, I want to talk with you about Otto Wambert. I believe that is how we say his name. The young lad who was arrested in North Korea for taking down a sign of propaganda. And we find that he's been released, but now he's in a coma. How did all of that transpire?
Well, okay. So about last year, a couple years ago, he basically, as you said, was arrested for taking down some North Korean propaganda. Does it really matter what he was arrested for? It's North Korea. They just arrest people because that's what they do. So
you could be arrested for jaywalking there. There you go.
Right. Okay. So the actual charges aren't hugely significant. Then he was sentenced to 15 years of something ridiculous because again, it's North Korea. Apparently, not too long after the trial, you can see me doing air quotes. He apparently they think got botulism, and then has been in a coma, and he apparently has been in a coma since last year. So a while.
Yeah.
And it's only been since essentially the U.S. demanded that we see him and I think 3 others who were Americans to the North Korean town, and discovered that his medical state was not good. We've basically convinced the North Koreans to let us take him back.
Wow. Now, this has nothing to do with the fact that a former basketball player is going to visit the North Korean Little Kim. Is that the case? This has nothing to do with with Rodman, Dennis Rodman.
I mean, I would like to say it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
but the timing implies that it does in some way.
Okay.
I mean, of course, they're saying it has nothing to do with each other, but the timing is odd.
So every time we send Dennis Rodman there, we can get one of our Americans back. I think it's a good trade-off.
I actually think that's not a bad trade-off.
Not a bad deal at all. But in all sincerity, I remember him when they showed the judgment coming down against him, and him breaking out openly in tears as he was being led away. I mean, almost carried away. He didn't want to go back into that system. Are we sure that it's botulism that caused his coma, or could it have been something else? Maybe
it could have been anything.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been anything. I mean, does anybody really know? You can't trust anything that comes out of North Korea.
Thank you.
Right. You just anything they say may or may not be the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's in a coma, been in there for a long period of time. Certainly, we are thankful for the fact that God is bringing him home. We pray his recovery. But does that send a message to America's leaders that when one of our citizens is maltreated in a foreign land, that maybe we should look at how we can chastise that foreign nation? Is that a little much? Am I saying too much here? Should we punish North Korea for how they may have imprisoned one of our citizens?
Well, there's a lot of reasons you can punish North Korea. This is one in a very long list.
It would take days for all the reasons. But in all sincerity, I am just completely, I am quite disturbed in knowing that young man is in a coma, returning to the United States, and is not returning steadfastly with the chains broken from him and walking sufficely. It reminds me of what's done to prisoners in Mexico City or Mexico prisons, also to U.S. Men and women in prisons in Iran. And I'm just under this impression that is diplomacy the thing that works best in this regard, or does military work better? I don't know. Maybe an invasion is not necessary, but I think a kid coming home in a coma is not a very good sign that North Korea has been on the up and up about taking care of our kids.
No. Okay. I have a lot of things to say in regards to this, and nothing really works with North Korea.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing really works. Diplomacy doesn't really work. We don't even really talk to them. Military doesn't really work that much either, primarily because it's just hard. We'd have to actually, short of war, essentially, there's very little I think that we can do to influence them. Also, it's North Korea. They generally do what they want. We know that they're going to treat people badly. We know that they're going to treat Americans badly. So I do think that it's North Korea's just, there's not a lot that one can do.
Yeah. You know, I think that's
at least in regard to that.
Yeah, I know.
People who are imprisoned.
And that's the thing. And Dave says it correct in here too. I want Dave to know that I agree with him. That vacating in North Korea is not the primary initiative of a individual. I know that people go there for missionary purposes sometimes, or other reasons. And I know that that's your choice. But that vulnerability that I have, that one of our citizens is going to be maltreated in a foreign land, just doesn't sit well with me. I think I'm thinking retaliation. Maybe I'm overthinking it at this particular point, but he went there in sound mind. He comes back in a coma. I just don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this thing, but I just don't think it's a right, fair, and just thing for that young man to end up in that particular situation. Although he did choose to vacation in North Korea, which I recommend if you do plan on vacationing that you don't choose North Korea or Syria. I'm just saying, not real brilliant to do that. Want to talk with you tonight also about another prisoner, but this prisoner happens to be a former leader of Panama. And he was living in Coral Gables, Florida. Coral Gables, Florida. Can you let our family know exactly what's going on with the former president of Panama from Coral Gables, Florida?
Well, he was hanging out.
Just chilling.
Former president of Panama, just hanging out, just chilling, because Florida's the place to be. I personally think it's a bit too hot, but apparently a lot of people like it. And he was just picked up by the U.S. authorities, and it's possible he'll be extradited back to Panama for basically skipped out on some charges of corruption and, you know, those things that presidents do.
I am completely,
when they have too much power.
Janis, I am completely shocked. Are you talking about corruption in Latin America? Really?
Yeah. It's hard to believe.
So he came to America with millions in his pocket that belonged to other people, and now he's going home to face the music. Now, is he in a coma?
No.
Okay, see? You see how we treat criminals in our country versus how North Korea treat criminals in their country? You know what I'm saying?
We allow them to use their money to buy nice places in Florida.
Exactly. I mean, we are a kind and generous nation. I don't know why people put us down. I want to ask you about Venezuela tonight as well. And that's been on our screen for a long time. And then I want to talk with you very quickly about Taiwan. But Venezuela, there's a story that you're covering out of that. And I want you to talk about that tonight from the BBC.
Yeah, so actually, we have a couple stories that I wanted to highlight coming out of Venezuela. So, one of them is that the prosecutor in Venezuela has requested, I will say, that the judges who a few months ago, I mean, might have been more than a few months ago, but anyway, the judges who essentially got rid of the National Assembly, which was the only thing that even resembled anything democratic in the country. So essentially got rid of that legislative body and put all of the power in Maduro's hands. She wants to essentially be able to go after them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I admire her for doing that. I don't think she's going to get very far.
I love the way you said that. You are such a diplomat. When are you going to join the diplomacy groups out of the State Department? That was really nice. Why do you not think she would get very far with her angst towards Maduro? I mean, she's a just woman.
Yes. Well, essentially, because the situation in Venezuela right now is there is no law, there is no justice, there is no democracy. There's nothing that even resembles that. So there's essentially no way to get something done through the legal system in Venezuela at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank God for chaos, right? There you go. Obviously. I want to talk with you about one last thing, and that's Taiwan. Taiwan was very disappointed when this president made note before meeting with Xi Jinping of China that he believed in the one state China solution, meaning that Taiwan was a part of China. Although we have appreciably, since the Carter administration, considered Taiwan an independent nation in and of itself. But now they are complaining that China is beginning to isolate them. Can you tell America why that complaint is being made by Taiwan?
All right, so Panama is making the news again today. They've had a lot of people in the news. So Panama today also, basically, they are siding with China proper. They had recognized Taiwan for a while,
yes.
But now they're essentially going on dates with China.
Is the marriage over? Oh, I'm sorry.
The reason being is that China is essentially buying Panama nicer gifts.
Ah, so, I see.
And this has been happening in a lot of places, actually. Mm-hmm. Over the past several years, China has been making a lot of inroads in a lot of places with aid money.
Mm-hmm.
And, essentially buying nice things for others. Mm-hmm. And essentially what that's been doing is then forcing, well, not directly forcing, but encouraging those other countries to recognize China as the one China that exists, and essentially to, if we're going to keep the dating thing, to dump Taiwan.
Wow. We thought the marriage would last, but apparently it hasn't. Money has eclipsed the fidelity of love. That's a sad and torrid thing to behold. Oh my God. Oh, Panama. Oh, Panama. Janice, we love you and we thank you so much. And we love you so much. We want you to have next week off. You take your vacation next week, and we will have you back the week after, okay?
Awesome.
I can feel the excitement. We love you. God bless you.
I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about.
We definitely will. God bless you. We love you. Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report, ladies and gentlemen, every Tuesday night at 10:20. We will be back. If we're not interrupted by mysterious commercials, you'll be listening to ours. We'll be right back right after these messages.
There are only two things you should be doing weeknights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And one of them is me in 58 states. So do the other one. Listen live to the Exceptional Conservative Show with Ken McClinton. Monday through Wednesday at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time on SHR Media and at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. The Exceptional Conservative Show, bringing the sexy back to late night conservative talk.
The dream deferred is real. You've been waiting for the Exceptional Conservative Network, and now it's here. Go to theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Tune in and get the best in urban conservative talk. Stop dreaming. It's real. You're listening to the most influential urban conservative talk show in all of the world. Christianity, conservatism, the Constitution, capitalism. We talk about it all right here on the Exceptional Conservative Show at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Go there now and join me in chat. We're spreading the good news to the ends of the earth. We'll be back right after these messages.
Meet Jason. He was really excited to start growing his business with social media until he realized how complex and time-consuming social media can be. It's difficult to manage multiple social networks and accounts. It's hard to monitor what's happening on social media, follow discussions, and engage with new followers. It's time-consuming to publish updates throughout the day, track and analyze how effective posts are, respond to fans and followers in a timely manner, and gain new customers. The list seems to go on and on. Jason quickly becomes discouraged. How could he ever do all of this and still run a business? He was ready to give up on social media until he found eClincher, the easiest way to manage social media. Jason was amazed how straightforward and simple it is to use eClincher. With eClincher, Jason is now able to leverage the power of social media without having to dedicate several hours a day. He can easily organize all his social media accounts in one place, efficiently plan and schedule his posts ahead of time, engage with his followers, understand the effectiveness of his efforts with powerful analytics, find new customers, and much more. In order to tell your business's story, simplify the process of managing your social media, and analyze results, sign up with eClincher today.
So what do you think about ebooks? Maybe you've never read an ebook before, but you're considering giving it a try. Or maybe you've been reluctant to try ebooks because you don't want to buy another expensive electronic device. Or maybe you already enjoy ebooks, but you haven't been able to find titles from your favorite Christian authors. Whatever your situation, ChristianBook.com has the solution. Your trusted source for print books for over 30 years now offers ebooks. Our always free CBD reader allows you to read on the devices you already own without spending money on a new device. Thousands of Christian ebooks at ChristianBook.com means you can shop with confidence and choose from the titles you want. Plus, we are adding new titles all the time. Browse our huge selection of low-priced Christian ebooks the same way you would printed books, only now you can go from shopping to reading in seconds. Simply select the ebook you wish to purchase, confirm your account information, and start reading. Free samples of every ebook are available, so you can preview the book first, before you buy it. Plus, there's no lengthy app downloads and updates. Accessing the CBD Reader is as easy as going to cbdreader.christianbook.com and bookmarking the page. The CBD Reader holds your ebooks and bookmarks for you, no matter what device you're on. So, you can take your entire ebook library wherever you go and pick up right where you left off. Our customizable options make it possible to read your ebooks in different font sizes and styles. Want a large print version? You've got it in seconds with a simple click of the mouse. Already own a dedicated e-reader? Download your ebooks to your computer from your christianbook.com account and transfer them to your device. Try ebooks at christianbook.com and start reading your favorite books in seconds. Easy, economical, everywhere you want to read. Welcome to christianbook.com ebooks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republicans and then the socialists. Yes, ebooks, BZ, ebooks. And for those who like to get them directly, you can easily go to the Bible study page on the Exceptional Conservative Show and click on forgive me, the christianbook.com link right there. You can order your books, whatever book, the Bible you wish, they got it. You can order it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go on Thursday night at 6 p.m. to the Heritage Foundation at 214 Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, D.C. I want you to get in free. I want you to use code BFM 2017, BFM 2017. I want you to get in there. I want you to meet Alveda King and so many others as we fellowship and socialize and enjoy the pleasure of each other's company. Listen, we're on the battlefield, and you know that I'm preparing for war next week. Well, I'm giving stuff away. I'm preparing for war. So I don't want to release any. I'm sorry I gave all the way. Forget I ever said next week. Next week, everyone is taking their break from our program. Tomorrow night, you will hear Lonnie Poindexter, Ralph J. Chittum, the Kraken, Shannon Wright, and that will be the last time that you hear them until the last week of June. And New Day Black and Red will remain, but I'm going to also give the professor a week off, a rest. I know that he's on fire, ready to come back, but we're going to be working on some other things in the meantime. But I want you all to rest and relax. We got a lot of things that we're going to talk about next week in terms of the principles, because we got to go back to the basics for when we're about to make our move to internet television. And I want you all to stay tuned with us while we're doing that. We're also preparing to do a registration drive in the coming weeks in preparation for Freedom Fest. We hope to get to Freedom Fest. That is my hope and aspiration. I hope that we get there. I'm praying every single day that it comes to pass. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for, I'm not looking for donors, but I'm looking for advertisers and things of that nature. So we're working on that even as we speak. I want you to know there is a lot that we're working on right now. And I need everyone just to be at rest next week. Just be at rest, because I believe that God's about to do something beyond what I can do. And I just want to be in rest when that happens. Ladies and gentlemen, the other thing I wanted to talk with you all about tonight is the extravagant racism that takes place in our banking community. It's an extravagant racial prejudice that goes on. In fact, I don't know if you all know Michael Dyson, but Michael Dyson said recently, he's a professor, I think at Georgetown University or one of these Georges in D.C., and he's just a racehead. He's an ignoramus And quite frankly, that's why you should count your degree as laudable and often lawful. It has no real significance when you have professors like Mike Dyson, out there making these statements that white people need to save up accounts to pay reparations to black people. And so, can these donations to go to Freedom Fest with Mrs. Biggs? Thank you, Mary. I don't do that, Mary. No, I don't need. We're gonna work this thing out. Trust me, we're gonna work it out. But I love you, Mary. I love you. But I want you all to know that when you have a Mike Dyson who is telling white people to save up accounts for reparations, this is what I want you all to do, white people. I don't want you to open up those accounts at Bank of America, send them lots of money. I love you, Mary. I don't want you saving up those accounts at Citicorp or any of those other, Wells Fargo, any of those other types of. I want you to take your money and put it into community banks in urban America. That's what I want you to do. Because what you all don't understand is the more shares you own, the more choices you make, including the board membership. There are quite a large sum of racist Democrats that are black that happen to own credit unions. And if you really want reform, if you really want change, I suggest that you store your money in those particular credit unions. Why? Well, they pay a higher interest rate than most about what you're getting right now. But you also have, well, number two is that you have a friend in President Donald J. Trump who is working to make it easier for those institutions to lend money and get that money out into the hands of the American people. And he's done that with something called a report. It's Steve Mnuchin put it out. A financial system that creates economic opportunities, banks and credit unions. And I'm going to put that in the chat row for you all to go over. I may not have enough time to go over every piece of it, but I'm going to do my very best tonight, and then I will pick this up next week. But in this particular agreement, there are 4 principles that are based on a executive order that he put out back in February with the expectation that the Federal Reserve would make some progress on his executive order. The executive order happens to be 13772. Executive Order 13772. Now, according to the executive order, there are 6 principles that the Treasury Department has to work on. A, empower Americans to make independent financial decisions and informed choices in the marketplace, save for retirement, and build individual wealth. Now, I want to focus on the building individual wealth because those black credit unions, well, they can't lend out money, and thus they can't help you build your wealth. So white people, put your reparation accounts, and I do mean that facetiously, put your reparation accounts into those credit unions, especially if you're a capitalist, because what you're going to teach those Marxists and socialists that have opened up credit unions in their churches and other institutions to promulgate socialism is that the free market capitalism of America changes people from wanting to maintain poverty to creating wealth. The B portion is to prevent taxpayer-funded bailouts. God bless you. Now, Donald Trump, I love you. And if we can stop too big to fail in America, the better off you, Main Street, will be. C, foster economic growth and vibrant financial markets through more rigorous regulatory impact analysis that addresses systemic risk and market failures, such as moral hazard and information asymmetry. D, enable American companies to be competitive with foreign firms in domestic and foreign markets. E, advance American interests in international financial regulatory negotiations and meetings, meaning better trade agreements. F, make regulation efficient, effective, and appropriately tailored, meaning cutting out regulatory oppression. And then G, restore public accountability within federal financial regulatory agencies and rationalize the federal financial regulatory framework. This is a part of a 4-part series that's coming out through the Treasury Department over the course of the year. Why is it important? Because when Donald Trump makes this move to make it easier for credit unions to lend money because they don't have to compete with banks or don't have to fall under the same regulatory restraints in terms of accounting as banks, that makes them more profitable, and thus making them more profitable, they can build wealth within the communities in which they're located. So what I'm going to tell you is, white America, put your reparations accounts in urban community credit unions and then vote those Marxist socialist astards out. I say astards, I didn't use the B. We will be right back after this. Vote them out. Vote all the Mike Tysons out. Vote them out.
Hi, my name is Willie Austin of the Willie Austin Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I decided to be awesome instead. That's the Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Featuring right thinking from the left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America, one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you back to the final portion of the Exceptional Conservative Show, live on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We are so thankful that you spent your hours of time with us. There is so much I want to talk with you about next week. Regarding finance, regarding politics, regarding education, and everything. There's so much I want to talk with you about as we make our preparation for going to TNCN.TV and TECN.TV International and so on. But there are two things that I really want you to do tonight, because I didn't even get into the Volcker rule. I wanted to talk with you all about the change there. I really believe that banks, you do what makes you profitable, but you are never too big to not fail. That's just, I believe that. But there are two things I want you to do. Number one, go to shrmedia.com. You don't even have to leave this page anymore trying to find it. All you have to do is scroll up and click on TECN on SHR Media. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to SHR Media and to their chat room page, and that way you can listen to BZ coming up at 11 p.m. Eastern time. You can go directly there and listen and have all the joy and all the fun and all the shows that are left on TECN that will be promoted on SHR. They're still there. You'll be able to listen to them accordingly. Now, for everyone else, I do want you to remember this. God bless America. It's time for America to bless God. We'll see you tomorrow night for our big Wednesday night show. Good night and God bless you.